This penny almost went into a Salvation Army donation jar, but when it was finally identified, it turned out to be worth up to $1.4 million. That's right, 1 cent ordinary copper. A plain-looking 1984 Lincoln cent with no mint mark, but with a flaw so rare, so secret, it turned the coin world upside down. In 1984, the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia produced hundreds of millions of Lincoln pennies. Most were unremarkable. You've probably held a dozen in your life. But one batch, a tiny handful, came out of the presses with a hidden flaw. A flaw that would only be noticed years later by a sharp-eyed collector flipping through a pile of pocket change. He thought he saw something strange. Lincoln's face looked off. Not just aged, distorted. Like it had been struck twice. But the rest of the coin? Crisp. Normal. That contradiction haunted him. He pulled out his loupe. And what he saw next stunned even veteran numismatists. Lincoln's ear doubled. Not softly, like a worn die might cause. Sharply. Deeply. A clean, distinct doubling that should never have happened. The result? A true doubled die error, and not just any error. This one was unlike anything seen on a penny from that year. The Philadelphia Mint never intended to produce this error. In fact, they never acknowledged its existence. There was no announcement, no recall, no public record of a faulty die. It simply slipped into circulation, hidden inside millions of ordinary pennies, waiting to be discovered, and the first time one of these coins hit an auction block, the room went silent. Bidding opened at a few thousand. Within minutes, the numbers skyrocketed. Dealers from across the country competed, phone lines buzzed, and one bidder, anonymous, possibly representing a private collector, took it all the way to six figures. By the end, it sold for over $250,000. For a penny, because another surfaced. Then another. Still rare, incredibly rare, but enough to spark rumors. Was there a whole batch out there? Could someone actually find one in circulation? People began hoarding their change. Collectors organized penny hunts. Dealers offered thousands just for the chance to authenticate a raw 1984 doubled die cent. In 2019, a pristine example, graded MS68 read by PCGS, surfaced from a private collection. Not a coin found in a junk drawer. This one had been preserved. Perfect luster. No scratches. The doubling sharp as ever. And the appraisal, that moment changed everything. Suddenly, the 1984 no-mint mark doubled die penny became a holy grail of U.S. coinage. More valuable than many gold coins. Rarer than most commemoratives. And still, possibly, out there in circulation. Here's what you need to look for. Start with any 1984 penny that does not have a mint mark. That means it was minted in Philadelphia. Now, examine Lincoln's ear, not the front of his face, not the lettering, not the date. Just the ear. You're looking for something called a doubled die obverse. It's not caused by wear. It's not damage. It's a true die error. Lincoln's ear will appear doubled, bold, defined, and slightly raised above where it should be. The doubling may extend slightly to his jaw or neck, but the ear is the key. That's the money shot. Many fakes exist, especially online. So beware. Don't fall for shallow, fuzzy doubling from die fatigue or mechanical doubling. True doubled die errors are sharp, clean, and unmistakable once you see them. Some experts suggest using a 10x magnifier. But honestly? If you've got a real one, you might not even need it, because when this error hits your palm, you'll feel it. People who found them say there's a strange thrill, like electricity. Like faith. And here's the part that still shocks coin veterans today: we're not talking about thousands. Experts believe fewer than 150 examples have been confirmed. Maybe even fewer. Most were damaged in circulation. Only a tiny handful are in mint state condition. And only one, the $1 million miracle, has reached the peak grade so far. Every time a new one appears, the value spikes. The last auction broke records. Private sales are rumored to go even higher. Dealers are watching every estate lot. Collectors are combing through rolls. One man found his in a coffee can in his garage, a can that hadn't been opened in 20 years. Another? She spotted it while helping her grandson start a penny album, because this isn't just about metal and value. It's about discovery. It's about the chance, no matter your background, your age, your luck, to stumble across a tiny coin that changes everything. So the next time you dump your change on the counter, pause. There's a specific kind of treasure that doesn't shine. It doesn't glitter. It looks ordinary, familiar, maybe even a little dirty, and if you find that 1984 no-mint mark penny, with Lincoln's doubled ear, and it's in good condition, you might be holding more than just a piece of American history. You might be holding $1 million, and the best part, this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This penny nearly vanished into a coin counting machine, but it ended up shocking collectors with a value that could reach $1.5 million. One tiny copper coin, struck in 1981, that most people wouldn't look at twice, is now the holy grail of Lincoln cents. And it's not just rare. It's mysterious. A freak accident at the US Mint turned a pocket change penny into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. And the craziest part? Thousands may still be out there, waiting in jars, drawers, and forgotten shoeboxes. So how does a simple 1981 penny become $1 million miracle? It starts with a mistake, a hidden detail so small, most people miss it. The coin was struck in Denver, which should have left it with a tiny D mint mark just beneath the date. But somehow, somewhere along the minting line, something went terribly, incredibly wrong. The result? A 1981 D Lincoln penny, with no mint mark. No one noticed at first. Not even the mint itself. The error slipped through quietly, undetected, and entered circulation just like any ordinary coin. For decades, it passed from hand to hand, buying candy, disappearing into parking meters, tossed into tip jars. Until one day, an eagle-eyed collector saw something strange. They held up a 1981 penny and froze. There was the date, clear as day. But the Denver mint mark? Gone. The collector couldn't believe it. At first, they thought it was a misprint, or maybe the mark had just worn off. But under magnification, the truth hit like a bolt of lightning: it hadn't worn off. It had never been there at all. This was a legitimate 1981 deminting with zero mint mark. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Professional graders confirmed the impossible. A batch of 1981 Denver pennies had been struck with blank dies, meaning the tiny D hadn't been added before minting. That minuscule omission turned a 1-cent coin into a once-in-a-generation anomaly. Auction houses went wild. Rumors spread across collector forums like wildfire. One coin, in pristine condition, near flawless red-brown luster, hit the market and soared to over $100,000. That alone would be shocking, but then came another sale. And another. And whispers of private collectors offering 6, even 7 figures for high-grade versions. Experts now believe that a perfect MS-68 example of this 1981 D no-mint mark penny could fetch up to $1.5 million in a high-stakes private auction. Most people have no idea what to look for. They toss this coin into Coinstars every day without realizing they might be holding $1 million anomaly. Dealers are scouring estate sales, flea markets, and old coin collections in a frenzy, trying to grab every 1981 penny they can, because the truth is, this coin hides in plain sight. Start by pulling out every 1981 Lincoln penny you can get your hands on. Flip it over, examine the obverse, just below the date. You'll usually see one of 3 things: no mint mark, Philadelphia, an S, San Francisco, or a D4, Denver. But here's the twist: a genuine 1981 D no-mint mark coin has the characteristics of a Denver strike: strong, high-pressure details, but with no visible mint mark at all. It's not worn down. It's not rubbed off. It was never there to begin with. That's what makes it so valuable and so dangerous to overlook. Many fakes have flooded the market. Some are polished down, others altered. But experts agree, the real ones have crisp edges, sharp lettering, and that telltale copper hue, all struck on Denver planchets, but mysteriously missing their mark. Authentication is everything. If you think you found one, don't clean it. Don't touch it more than you have to. Place it in a soft cloth or flip holder and take it to a certified numismatist for verification, because what happens next could change your life forever. Just imagine. You're sifting through a coffee can of pennies, maybe helping your grandkids with a school project, when you spot it. A 1981 penny. No mint mark. You look closer. Your heart skips. The lettering looks sharp. The luster's still there. And suddenly, you're holding something more than copper and zinc. collectors now speculate that multiple rolls of these error pennies escaped into circulation, possibly from a single faulty die batch. That means they could still be hiding in forgotten places. Bank rolls. Grandpa's jar. The bottom of your glove box, that exact coin could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This penny almost ended up in a gas station tip jar, but today, it's sitting in a vault behind 3 inches of reinforced steel, insured for $1.6 million, and the craziest part? It looks just like the one you tossed on your dresser last night. Let me take you back to the summer of 2022. A retired postal worker from Springfield, Illinois, 64 years old, always hunting for rare finds in his pocket change, was rolling up pennies for a trip to the bank. Nothing unusual, until he saw one with a soft copper hue that felt just slightly off. No mint mark. No shine. And most shocking of all, the year read 2021. He almost dismissed it. New coins aren't usually worth anything. But something about the texture made him hesitate. He slipped it under a 10x loop. That's when he saw it.no mint mark. No initials. No gloss finish. And no sign of a modern zinc core, just a deep, unmistakable copper tone and a design you're not supposed to see on a 2021 penny, because this wasn't just any modern coin, this was a phantom issue. A ghost struck from the wrong die, using the wrong planchet, a penny that, by all official records, was never meant to exist, and it had somehow traveled, undetected, from a minting machine in Philadelphia into a roll of bank-wrapped change, then into the hands of one stunned collector. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. He took it to a local coin show, expecting a few $100 in trade. Within minutes, 3 dealers had cornered him near the concession stand. One offered $10,000 on the spot. Another pulled out a checkbook and scratched out $45,000. Weeks passed. Then the phone rang. "Sir, this is the most baffling mint error we've seen in over a decade." It wasn't just the missing mint mark, it was the metal. This 2021 penny, against all known minting protocols, had been struck on a pure copper planchet, the kind phased out decades ago. And there was no logical reason for it to exist. Collectors were shocked. Forums lit up. Some accused it of being a fake. But advanced testing proved it. The coin was genuine. And possibly unique. It went to auction 6 months later, and the final hammer dropped at $1.62 million. One man's pocket change had become $1 million miracle. Well, the US Mint officially stopped using pure copper for pennies back in 1982. Modern pennies are made of zinc with a thin copper coating. They weigh less, cost less, and strike faster, but somehow, somewhere in the chaos of a production line, likely during die testing or transition maintenance, an old copper blank was fed into a 2021 press. No mint mark. No denomination error. Just one rogue planchet from an outdated bin, and a perfectly ordinary die. That single moment created a coin that wasn't just rare, it was impossible, and this tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. You see, the missing mint mark is subtle. On a 2021 penny from Philadelphia, it's not supposed to have a mint mark. So at first glance, nothing feels off with that copper color? It's deeper. Richer. Heavier. Modern pennies weigh about 2.5 grams. But this one, it clocked in at 3.11 grams. The weight of a solid copper planchet. That tiny fraction? It's the golden ticket. Most people don't own a gram scale. But if you've got a handful of 2021 pennies lying around, take a close look. If one feels heavier, slightly warmer in tone, that could be your first clue. After the discovery of the first copper 2021 penny, rumors surfaced of more. 2 other similar coins were reportedly found in Oregon and South Carolina, both unconfirmed. Dealers are rushing to examine every 2021 no mint penny they come across. Some are offering $5000 for examples they believe may be transitional errors even without the copper content. Why? Because once something like this leaks from the mint, it usually doesn't happen just once. There could be 5, 10, maybe even 20 out there still hiding in circulation. Still being spent on coffee. Still being dropped into donation jars at checkout counters, and what happened next will leave you breathless. Just last year, a teenager in Albuquerque posted a photo to Reddit. He thought he'd found a shiny old penny. Turns out, it was a 2021 no mint copper tone cent that weighed exactly 3.09 grams. His dad took it to a dealer. It hasn't been sold yet, but offers have already crossed the $300,000 mark. Collectors are watching. Dealers are calling. And the race is on. So here's how to identify the $1 million 2021 no mint copper penny hiding in plain sight. First, flip over every 2021 penny you find. Look for one without a mint mark. That's normal for Philadelphia coins, but it's your starting point. Second, examine the color. Real copper has a deeper orange-brown hue. Most modern pennies look brighter, even pinkish. Hold them side by side and compare. Third, and most important, weigh it. You need a scale that can measure to 2 decimal places in grams. If the penny weighs 3.10 to 3.12 grams, you might be holding solid copper. If it passes those tests, you need to act fast. Get it to a coin dealer or submit it to PCGS or NGC. Do not clean it. Do not alter it. Just protect it and let the experts examine it, because one day soon, another one of these will sell, and when it does, the price could be even higher. So check your drawers. Your piggy banks. That change cup in your car, because this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This penny almost ended up in a child's piggy bank, but today, it's insured for over $1 million. It's a 1979 Lincoln penny. No mint mark. No silver. Just copper and a whisper of forgotten history, and yet it may be the most valuable penny hiding in your spare change right now. The story begins in a quiet suburb in Illinois, 2006. A retired machinist named Gerald brought a coffee can full of old coins into a small-town coin show. He wasn't a collector, just curious. "Take a look," he said. "Maybe there's something interesting in there." What one appraiser pulled out left the table dead silent. A 1979 penny. No mint mark. But something was wrong. The color, the strike, the weight, they didn't line up. And when it was inspected under a microscope, collectors gasped. It wasn't just any penny. It was an error coin struck on the wrong planchet, with deeply misaligned dies, and one critical missing detail that made it worth more than a brand new Ferrari. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. When the coin was verified by 2 separate grading agencies, they confirmed the impossible. This 1979 Lincoln cent had no mint mark, but wasn't struck in Philadelphia. It wasn't struck in Denver either. In fact, no one knows exactly where it was minted, and that's where the mystery and the value begins. In 1979, the U.S. Mint produced billions of pennies. Most of them were made in Philadelphia and Denver, with San Francisco handling proofs. Philadelphia coins traditionally had no mint mark. That's normal. But this coin was different. It had characteristics of a Denver strike, but absolutely no mint mark. And that, for 1979, shouldn't exist. Some experts believe it was an experimental strike, possibly a transitional piece made on leftover 1978 planchets, or even struck using dies not meant for circulation at all. One theory? A rogue mint employee struck it during a shift and slipped it into circulation. If that's true, it's one of the rarest minting accidents in U.S. history. But here's the twist that made it a $1 million miracle: the coin wasn't just rare. It was flawless. Nearly perfect red-brown luster. Razor-sharp Lincoln detail. And the clincher? A misaligned die crack that ran from Lincoln's shoulder to the rim, like a scar marking its authenticity. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. In 2010, this exact coin sold at a private auction for $1.15 million. And since then, rumors of other similar 1979 no mint mark oddities have been swirling, with collectors offering tens of thousands, sight unseen, just for the chance to examine one. But here's the part that gives every collector goosebumps: the mint has never officially acknowledged this error coin. No records. No statement. Just silence. Which means, there could be more out there. In junk drawers. In glove compartments. In jars of pennies passed down from grandparents. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on this coin, because if you can spot the right one, it could change your life forever. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. Yours could too, but only if you know what to look for. So how can you tell if you're holding the rare 1979 no mint mark Lincoln penny worth over $1 million? First, check the date, 1979. That's your starting point. Second, flip it under a bright light. Examine the surface for an unusually rich, reddish tone, almost like polished copper. Most pennies from 1979 are dull. This one almost glows, and now, look for a specific die crack, a thin, raised line starting at Lincoln's shoulder and moving diagonally down to the rim. Not all of them have this, but the most valuable one did. Next, inspect the rim. Many error coins struck off-center will have a slightly uneven rim, like it was pressed just a fraction too far off target. And finally, and most importantly, check for signs of a different planchet. If the coin feels slightly too light or thin, or the sound it makes when dropped is more of a ping than a clink, you may be dealing with a transitional error or misstrike. Collectors were shocked when the first one surfaced. Some called it a fluke. Others called it a conspiracy. But those who believed are now millionaires, and here's what makes this story truly powerful: this coin wasn't found at an auction. It wasn't pulled from a vault. It wasn't inherited in a sealed case. It came from a random pile of pocket change, coins that sat in a kitchen drawer for over 20 years. It could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Welcome back to the channel, where today we dive deep into the world of coins that might be sitting in your pocket or tucked away in an old drawer and are actually worth a surprising amount of money. If you're into coin collecting, history, or just want to know if you're holding onto a small treasure, then this video is for you. Today we're talking about the 1952 D Lincoln penny. That little copper coin with Abraham Lincoln's face on it might be worth more than you think. The 1952 D Lincoln penny was minted in Denver, which is why you'll see that small d mint mark right below the date. Over 746 million of these coins were produced that year, making it a common date. But here's the twist: not all of these pennies are created equal. While many are only worth a cent or maybe a few cents in circulated condition, some rare varieties and high-grade examples are selling for much more. So let's start with a little background. The Lincoln penny was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it became the first U.S. coin to feature a real person. By 1952, the wheat reverse, also known as wheat ears on the back, was still in use. These are often called wheat pennies by collectors. The obverse, or front, features Lincoln's profile with the words "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date with the D mint mark below. Now, let's get into the value. If you have a 1952 D Lincoln penny in average circulated condition, meaning it's been used in regular transactions and has visible wear, it's typically worth between 3 to 10 cents. That's not bad for a coin that was once only worth a penny. But if your coin is in uncirculated or mint state condition, the value jumps significantly. These are coins that were never used in circulation and still retain their original shine and detail. An uncirculated 1952 D penny graded MS63 by a reputable grading company like PCGS or NGC can be worth anywhere from $3 to $8. If it grades higher, like MS65 or MS66, meaning it has virtually no imperfections under magnification, the value can reach $20 to $50. And here's where it gets interesting. In even higher grades, like MS67 red, the coin becomes incredibly scarce. One of these coins sold for over $1,600 at auction. Yes, you heard that right. A 1952 D Lincoln penny, that's a 1-cent coin, sold for over $1,600 because of its grade, its red luster, and the fact that it was preserved so well for more than 70 years. That's what collectors are willing to pay for perfection, but condition isn't the only thing that can raise the value of your coin. You'll also want to look out for errors and varieties. Some 1952 D Lincoln pennies were struck with die errors, like doubled dies, off-center strikes, or repunched mint marks. These can be hard to spot unless you know what you're looking for, but they can increase the value significantly. A repunched mint mark where the D was stamped more than once can sell for $50 to $200, depending on condition. There are also rare strike-through errors, or a piece of cloth or another object got between the die and the blank planchet during minting. These are rare and can fetch hundreds of dollars from collectors looking for unusual items. So how do you know if your 1952 D penny is worth big money? Step 1 is to check the condition. If the coin is shiny, crisp, and looks almost new, it might be in mint state condition. Compare it to images from grading services or consider sending it to a professional grading company. Step 2 is to look for errors. Use a magnifying glass to examine the date and mint mark closely. Check the details on Lincoln's hair, the lettering, and the wheat stalks on the back. Step 3 is to check if your coin has retained its red color. Copper coins tone over time, and many turn brown. A coin labeled red or red-brown will generally have more value than a full brown penny. And finally, step 4, research recent auction prices. Websites like PCGS, Heritage Auctions, or eBay sold listings can give you a real-time idea of what your coin is currently worth in the market. So to wrap up, the 1952 D Lincoln penny might be common in numbers, but the right condition and the right error can make it a collector's dream. Whether you're searching your coin jar, going through an inherited collection, or simply want to learn more about coin collecting, always keep an eye out for these little copper gems. That penny you ignore today might be worth hundreds or even over $1,600 tomorrow. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more rare coin updates, and let us know in the comments if you found any interesting coins in your collection. Until next time, happy collecting and don't forget, always check your change.